So, Mike, you at Platinum Pools this year are doing a project that hasn't been done in Cornwall in a number of years. You're doing one of the first commercial pools in, what, about 50 years?
Yeah, when we owned Roy's Pools, we used to do some commercial pools, but the pools were always done out of town. Like we've done some for a KOA campsite and vice versa, quite a few jobs. But commercial pools in town typically are cement, so you'd have a lot of people come from out of town in to install it. So the hotel pool at Super 8's, it's quite unique because you're actually having a local installer install a commercial pool, and it's the first time in over 50 years. But there's many other unique aspects to that project, which makes it pretty exciting. It's one of the only saltwater pools that are being installed in a commercial application. It's got the first ever fiberglass splash pad in Canada being installed from Leisure Pools. They're the fiberglass manufacturer of the pool. And we're doing a rubber deck, which is impact resistant and quite unique and quite specific. And we're the only rubber resurfacing company in SDNG, which many people don't know, but we're going to highlight that at the Home and Trade Show this upcoming weekend. So the rubber deck's going to be nice because it's slip resistant, soft, kids fall on it, it's quite great, and again, it'll be the only one in Cornwall. So.
Now, you do big pools and you do little pools, but there's a lot of, you just mentioned the saltwater, there are a lot of people that are switching to saltwater from traditional chlorine, right?
Yes. Chlorine, saltwater is chlorine. Saltwater gets generated and turned into chlorine, but the great aspect of it is the salinity level, or the level of the salt in the pool water, is much closer to the same level as your skin, so it's much more comfortable, and it's automatic. It produces chlorine for you, so it's much easier to use, and it's also a little more, I guess, eco-friendly because the salt's a little more natural as opposed to having been man-made chlorine. Now, the application's a lot easier as well because we put the salt into the pool and then it generates its own chlorine. You usually do that at the start of the season, whereas traditional manual chlorine fed, either you have to go and put pucks or sticks once a week in a skimmer, you have to walk out every second day and put granular chlorine. It's a lot easier to use, and every single person that's pretty much bought a salt system doesn't regret it. They love the fact of the feel of the water, how nice the water feels, and the usage. Like for somebody who's in business, if they leave for 2 weeks or a family's on vacation for 2 weeks, they don't have to worry about the pool. It maintains the pool for them.
Now, what we're hearing about Platinum Pools is you guys are becoming the service kings of Cornwall, Ontario, and the region when it comes to doing startups and close downs. This year we were talking about the fact that winter, because there's been so much snowfall, there's been a record amount of above ground pools that have collapsed and have had issues.
Well, about 6-7 years ago there was a record number of pools that have collapsed, and this year there's been quite a few as well. As restoration goes for a swimming pool, we're the only company, or one of the only companies, so let me rephrase that, one of the only companies who will actually do the deck work around the pool, remove the ground, because we install commercial pools and residential pools. We have the same crew. The crew that works on the $300,000 pool is the same crew that will work on the $2,000 pool. So the quality of the service you're getting is amazing. And then because we're smaller, we don't have a big store. We don't have a brick and mortar that you have to pay for. The costs are relatively low. So what's making us popular when it comes to liner changes, pool installs, restoration, is the quality of service is bar none equal to anyone in town, and the prices are usually the lowest.
And you work outside of Cornwall also occasionally.
Yeah, we work out all over. We work out of Ottawa, we do some work in Brockville, Kingston, but primarily our home base is Cornwall, and we like to stick to Cornwall. If we can keep ourselves completely busy within SDNG, then that's where we'll stay. But our market's very niche, and during recession times, sometimes you don't get the bigger projects, so we're willing to travel to keep our guys busy and to keep the workload there. And
in Cornwall, Akwesasne, in the area, people love their swimming pools, and we have a lot of above ground swimming pools too, right?
Yep, and the Quebec market is the actual leader for above ground pools. There's more above ground pools sold in Quebec than any other province in Canada. I'd say about 90% of the above ground pools sold in Canada are in Quebec. Since we are a border town, we're very close to the Quebec border, and we are more of a lower average income earners. That tends to be what's most popular within SDNG, which is above ground pools. But we still have quite a few in-ground pools per year that we install, and we tend to get some of the larger projects, or the more intense projects, because we do commercial work as well, and also you can get a lot more value for the price with us, because you're not, again, paying large margins or overinflated rates just to pay for the storefront. Whereas we operate from home, we're a home-based business. So and to compensate for that, we go right to the customer's yard. Everything we do, we go right in the yard. We draw out the pool for the customer. We sit at their table. We show them all the beautiful brochures. We do the whole 9 yards from home. And really, we feel that that's our way of earning the business.
And you've grown your online presence. PlatinumPools.ca is your website if they want to check out some of the services and products you have.
Yep, this is our beautiful website. Again, designed and done by a local business.
Are you going to give them a plug?
Yes, it's Kevin Lamoureux at Cav Productions. So we always use local people. Everything we do, we try and use local. If we honestly use somebody outside of town, it's because there's literally nobody in town who does it. It's something specific. But we haven't had to use out-of-town contractors for anything in maybe 4 or 5 years.
And if people want to get a hold of you by phone or email, how do they do that?
Well, they can get a hold of us by email at sales@platinumpools.ca or at 613-935-3855.
All right, thanks, Mike.
You're welcome.